At 16, I got my first real job at a local restaurant in my small hometown. A dive that attracted locals, regulars, and tourists every night. I was small, just 5 feet 2 inches, serving tables in tight pants that drew unwanted attention. A family friend worked as an assistant manager there and acted like a second mom, always looking out for me. The kitchen crew? A group of sketchy middle-aged guys with rough pasts. No background checks meant creeps were common. I learned to handle the stares and comments. Then they hired Nick. He was a monster. 6 feet 7 inches, ripped like a fighter, mid-30s but worn from drugs, with a face that screamed danger. An ex-underground MMA fighter, he always looked strung out. From the moment I saw him, chills ran down my spine. I knew he was trouble. It started subtly. He gave lingering, menacing stares as I passed. Then he began to follow me into back rooms, standing there smirking in silence whenever I turned around. Weeks later, he got bolder, sneaking up behind me while I was alone, whispering disgusting things in my ear, laughing when I told him to leave me alone. I reported it, but most managers didn't care. My family friend tried to help, but she wasn't in charge of the kitchen. The manager who was in charge? He harassed me too, even gave me a disgusting nickname tied to my body. I needed the job. With 7 siblings, I wanted to support myself, and it was close enough for my parents to drive me since I didn't have a license yet. So I stuck it out. Nick's obsession grew. He would interrogate my guy friends at work about my school, if I had a boyfriend, and where I lived since it was nearby. One time, I found my bag rummaged through after changing clothes at work. Only my bra was missing. It had to be him. The breaking point came when he groped me while I was reaching for a high shelf. I broke down in tears and told my work brother, Kentucky. He cursed Nick out, telling him to leave me alone. After that, I never went to the back without Kai or another guy. It seemed like Nick lost interest, but I saw his true violence during one closing shift. Our suite manager had been giving him cash for bus fare, but she cut it off, suspecting drugs. He snapped, towering over her, screaming names, throwing papers and trashing her desk. I heard the noise and walked in. He glared at me with pure hate, threatening that I'd regret telling anyone. He was high, unpredictable, and terrifying. She sobbed and begged me not to leave her alone with him, so I stayed, and she drove me home. I quit once I got my license after 5 months of hell with Nick. My new job was as a barista at a cafe in a strip mall. I found peace for 2 months and forgot all about him. Until that rainy December night. I had a shift at 6 p.m., and it was already dark. The parking lot was dim, and my cafe was at the end near dumpsters. Walking from my car, I spotted a massive silhouette under the lone streetlight, blocking my path and facing me. That smirk in the shadows? Unmistakable. It was Nick. His license had been revoked, so he didn't have a car. How did he get there? There was no reason for him to be by the dumpsters unless he was waiting for me. My heart raced as I tried to stay calm and walked past him. He said, "I finally found you again," using that vile nickname. I sprinted inside, had an anxiety attack in the bathroom, and called Kai for the first time in months. Since then, he has come in sporadically, asking for me, making eye contact and winking. I felt flustered and would hide. My new manager listened to my story and sent me to the back whenever he showed up. This continued until I moved for college, but I plan to return in winter, hoping he's gone. Kai texted me recently and said he saw Nick at a gas station, but that's it. The police said there wasn't much they could do. No recent threats. I hadn't reported the first one, and I didn't know his last name, address, or current job. But I take precautions, and he hasn't contacted me directly since that night. The experience at 16 taught me not to tolerate harassment. Get out and defend yourself. You deserve more than living in fear. No job is worth that.
At 16, I got my first job at a fast food place. I was excited to start experiencing the adult world. I'm petite, 5 feet 3 inches and 115 pounds, which might explain why I felt so passive during this nightmare. My trainer was a guy I'll call Frank. He seemed young, maybe in his early 20s, and we initially connected through casual conversations about anime and games. Things changed one day when he brought up a video game character with a green hat. I recognized it instantly. "Oh, that's Link. So cute. I used to watch my brother play Legend of Zelda. 4 Swords." He looked at me and said, "Marry me," in a deadpan way. I laughed it off and kept working, but for the rest of the shift, he wouldn't leave me alone, asking about my age and favorites. I was open and friendly back then, so I shared that I loved butterflies and that I was 16. Looking back, an older guy asking a minor's age was definitely a warning sign. About a month in, around December, my manager invited me to the company's secret Santa party. I went with my best friend, and Frank showed up too, glued to his phone as if he had something important to do. He stayed on that call the entire time. While I was getting food, he tapped my shoulder, still on the phone, and handed me a beautiful butterfly necklace. I thanked him, assuming he was my secret Santa. Later, another coworker gave me a Starbucks gift card and a plush toy, saying she was actually mine. I shrugged it off as a mix-up. My friend kept urging me to date Frank, but that was not something I considered at all. Come January, it was Frank's birthday. A female coworker who had a crush on him wished him well, and when someone asked his age, he said 27. That hit me hard. By then, every shift with him involved him taking photos of me before and after work and giving me compliments about my hair, skin, and eyes, even calling my nose cute. I would politely ask him to stop, but he just ignored me. I hated creating scenes, so I laughed it off. A big mistake.
Fast forward to May, my birthday. I was working and rang the back doorbell like usual, COVID protocols. And suddenly Frank jumped out from the bushes with a pile of gifts. It was his day off. What was going on? How did he even know it was my birthday? I never mentioned it since I don't celebrate. He followed me for a bit until I said I needed to clock in and couldn't get in trouble, and he left awkwardly. By July, I had finally reached my limit. I had endured 9 months of harassment from my shift lead, groping my butt, rubbing my thigh, making crude comments about my body, saying things like, "If your boobs were bigger." When I asked him to stop nicely, he ignored me. When I yelled, he punished me with degrading tasks like scrubbing greasy floors on my hands and knees. Then, my ex-best friend stole explicit photos from my phone, from a toxic relationship I was in, and showed them to everyone, including Frank and the shift lead. I was questioned about it all, decided to quit, and found a new job as a hostess at a popular restaurant that's basically a bar. In my last week, word spread that the shift lead got fired for harassment. While I was doing dishes with Frank, it came up. I shared what had happened, and he just shrugged, saying firing the guy wasn't a big deal. I was shocked and said, "I'm just glad to escape this nightmare," and left it at that. A month into my new job, everything went well, until a 2 a.m. shift when Frank showed up on his bike. I tried to be polite, but he kept interrupting my conversations with others. I managed to escape by bussing tables inside, where he couldn't follow me. When I returned, my coworkers were giggling. "What's up?" I asked. One said, "It's adorable how your boyfriend snaps pictures of you working. He's so obsessed. He wouldn't stop talking about you." Boyfriend? I was single and happy that way. It had to be Frank. But how did he know where I worked and when? I had only told my family. A week later, he showed up again. Panicking, I told the host to say I wasn't working and hid inside. I talked to my manager about the creepy photos and how uncomfortable I felt. He had me wait in the back while he dealt with it. The place was crowded, and Frank's bike was blocking customers. My manager tried to escort him out, but Frank got aggressive, throwing his bike and charging toward the building. Male servers stepped in. One protected me in the back room while others restrained him. I heard shouting, then silence. For the rest of my shift, I rolled silverware with that server. After that, staff walked me to my car every time, even in daylight. From August to November, he would bike by from a distance, staring and taking photos for 10 to 20 minutes before disappearing. It escalated recently. Due to COVID, the restaurant switched to takeout only, so I was out of work, doing seasonal jobs while waiting for my schedule. One bored day, I drove to the mall for Christmas shopping. In my rearview mirror, I spotted Frank following me. I nearly choked but told myself it was a coincidence. It wasn't. He followed me through the mall and then trailed my car home. No one knows my address except that ex-friend, and I want it to stay that way. I drove around aimlessly for an hour, taking random turns until I lost him. Now I think that's how he tracks me. My car isn't flashy, but it's recognizable. I've barely left home since. It's January 2021 now, and ever since New Year's, I've been getting creepy calls. When I answer, I hear heavy breathing, then another hello, before they hang up. Plus, I've received messages from new accounts on Snapchat and Instagram about gifts and deliveries. I'm not very active on social media, but the messages keep coming. One included photos I never shared, of me and my cat from a private Snapchat album, ending with, "I have a gift for you." I deleted both apps and cleared my phone. A week ago, I re-downloaded Snapchat for a school assignment. An old coworker sent me a message saying, "Frank wants to give you your Christmas gift. Want to stop by?" Maybe I'm just being paranoid, but those accounts scream Frank. This has affected me. I'm closed off now, feeling withdrawn. I'm not the bubbly girl I used to be. It's only been a year, but I feel like decades have passed. Frank, let's not cross paths again, and keep your gift to yourself. I worked at a place that was a mix of a hotel, event spaces, and a dining area. Being young and outgoing, I talked to everyone. Some people became good friends, while others just got a quick wave. Most of my shifts were in the evenings after classes and full weekends. That meant I dealt with big events like holiday brunches and festive gatherings, always dressing the part. One weekend morning, I clocked in, and the front desk supervisor pulled me aside looking shaken. He questioned me about any conversations I had with his son, who was in a different part of the hotel. Let's call him Alex. He wasn't a close friend, just someone I knew a bit through a mutual colleague named Mike. Alex seemed a little unusual, so our exchanges were limited to basic greetings. The dad pressed me to see if I had arranged to meet Alex the night before. I hadn't. Then he asked if I had ever joked about marrying him. Absolutely not, which left me confused. It came out that Alex had mental health issues, worsened by substance abuse. His parents might not have fully understood this until now. The night before, they found him in his room, blasting music and swaying under the covers. Hidden underneath were a cord, a knife, and drugs. They were alarmed and demanded answers. He claimed he was going to meet me for our wedding. My name had never come up at their house before, so they tried to talk to him. When that didn't work, the police got involved, and Alex ended up in a psychiatric facility for months. The supervisor looked pale and clearly worn out. I was stunned. It felt surreal and terrifying. I had no idea. This caused chaos. Alex was banned from the site, and I started getting escorted to my car after every shift. Later that day, Mike told me that same night, Alex had urged him to go outside for a chat. When Mike refused, Alex shouted warnings to keep away from me. Mike dismissed it as odd behavior since Alex had never acted aggressively, but he also noted the bag. Alex was eventually released, but no one told me. I became careless and didn't notice him following me one afternoon. He waited until I was alone, then knocked on my door. I opened it without looking and froze. He wanted to talk. I hesitated but didn't let him in. In my panic, I stepped outside, thinking I could run away or calm him down. He said he was doing better and had enrolled in classes, but summer break made that tough. He was older and might have been working on a diploma equivalent. Then he fixated on an outfit I wore to a brunch event 2 years earlier, asking if I still had it. He pushed for dinner, but I made up a work conflict and redirected the conversation to his father, who was still employed there. Thankfully, he left. The next time he showed up, my siblings stormed out, threatening consequences if he came back. I saw him driving around my neighborhood a few more times and hid from view. I have no idea where he ended up, but the feeling of being watched stuck with me for a long time. This fear was compounded by a few other pursuers when I was in my early 20s. Stories for another time. The bottom line is that your appearance or behavior doesn't invite obsession. It's never your fault. I fit traditional beauty standards, yet I shrank inward, changed my style, and avoided eye contact, hoping to disappear. Don't let that happen to you.